evening, everyone. A warm welcome to IREX Residency and Citizenship Conclave Virtual Edition. It's great to have you all joining us from different countries, along with our esteemed panelists together on this platform. Looking at these challenging times, we at GMN Media have put together this platform as an opportunity to educate all our esteemed investors, investment bankers, lawyers, immigration consultants about attractive citizenship and residency programs on offer. We bring you a panel discussion on various comparative analysis of global citizenship and residency by investment programs offered by different countries. The session will be for 45 minutes, followed by Q&As for 15 minutes. I would like to introduce Anisha Nayar Dhawan, our special guest moderator. Anisha is a seasoned television journalist and business news anchor and has worked with some of India's top television channels, requesting her to preside over this much-awaited panel discussion. Over to you, Anisha.
Thank you so much, Rohan. I'm so excited, and it's indeed my honor and privilege to be moderating the IREX Residency and Citizenship Conclave. This has been happening for the last 7 years, and I'm very excited to get a chance to moderate this discussion. Now, the COVID pandemic has ground international travel to a halt last year, but this has not put a spanner in the works for high net worth individuals in India from planning diversification of assets and investments and seeking a better life abroad by adopting another citizenship. Now, between January 2015 and October 2019, over 500,000 Indians have given up their citizenship to settle abroad. And this tide is unlikely to stem in the future, as the motivation for emigration, which could be anything from better career prospects to children's education, is likely to remain. The USA, UK, and Canada have traditionally been the most favored destinations for Indians looking to emigrate abroad. Now, thanks to the variety and ease of citizenship by investment programs being offered by countries in the Caribbean, Europe, and the rest of the world, the options just seem to have exploded. Now, do you like sunny beaches? Do they beckon you when you think of your dream home? Do you want to settle in a country that serves you a piece of history, culture, and heritage on a daily basis? Is the potential return on your investment the most important criteria for applying for citizenship? Whatever your reasons, over the next 45 minutes, we will lay out the details of citizenship by investment programs from 5 countries for you to decide on what works best for you. And of course, we'll be taking up your questions towards the end of the show. So keep sending us your questions. Don't wait till the end to type in your questions. Type in the questions as it pops up into your mind, and do use the Q&A box to send us your questions. I would request everybody to remain on mute if they're not speaking. And while the Google is there to answer all your questions, it is your golden opportunity to get the answers from the horse's mouth. We have experts joining us who have helped millions of applicants and thousands of applicants in the documentations, in answering their questions. So use this opportunity and ask all the questions that come to your mind. Please welcome our esteemed speakers who are joining us now. Mr. Christos Th.Vardikos, he is attorney at law, Th.Vardikos, who is representing Greece. He's an Athens-based attorney at law and the honorary consul for Commonwealth of Dominica in the Hellenic Republic. He is the vice president of the Greek Consular Corps and also manages a boutique law firm, Th.Vardikos. Please welcome Inga Wellings, business development manager at CES Global Partners. She's based in the UAE and she represents Dominica and St. Kitts and Nevis. Inga is a business development manager of CES Global Partners Dubai office. Inga specializes in providing citizenship by investment and residency solutions for a diverse H&W client base with a focus in the Middle East region. She's an economist, anthropologist, humanitarian with a very strong people skills. Please also welcome David Machado, partner at ptgoldenvisa.com, Portugal. Mr. Machado was born in Portugal and graduated in economics by Nova Business School. He's the founder of consulting company and international business advisor. He's a co-founder of the short rentals online, warmrentals.com, PT Golden Visa, and top investor visa immigration services. Please also welcome Kenneth Camilleri. He's founder and managing director, Vertex Alliance. He is going to be representing Malta. Kenneth Camilleri is the founder and managing director of Vertex Alliance with over 15 years of experience in advising high net worth individuals and their families about investment, migration, and wealth management. By profession, Kenneth is a qualified accountant and tax advisor. Please also welcome Ignacio Donoso, founder and managing attorney, Donoso Partners, and he'll be representing Canada. Mr. Donoso is a renowned business immigration lawyer for the United States and Canada. He has particular expertise working with investors, technology companies, academics, and researchers. His career spans over 20 years as a lawyer, advising thousands of clients to successfully navigate the visa system of Canada and the United States. A warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to having a very engaging discussion with all of you. So first round, I'm going to ask all of you to please talk to us about the country's citizenship by investment program that you're representing, and why should Indian investors consider that particular country? Let me start with you, Mr. Th.Vardikos. You're representing Greece. What's in it for Greece? I mean, when I think of Greece, I think of Santorini, and I'm all set. I don't need a reason not to think of Greece as a place to finally settle down in life. What's in it for Indian investors? Should they be looking to immigrate?
Santorini is very good for Bollywood. I think that there are many Bollywood films that are being shot now in Santorini. Greece is very hot for India, and Greece has shown all over the time that it has been. We had a very good reaction against COVID. The government has taken all the correct measures, and the program has turned out also to be COVID resilient. That is to say, we have the golden visa, basically where you buy houses, properties for up to an amount of 250,000 euros, or eventually you can do a fixed term deposit with a Greek bank for 400,000 euros. Both these investments, they have to be kept during the time you want to have your residence visa in Greece. And we can do that remotely. That means now the investor doesn't have to come to Greece to open the bank account and to make or to purchase the property. We can do everything based on a power of attorney, and the applicant can come and have only the biometrics. Greece also has another program which is very favorable for Indians. It's called the FIP. You need to show some sort of passive income, some passive independence, some financial independence, and you can have a residence permit without making an investment, showing only that you have the financial means. Greece also is going to enact now a special visa for global nomads, for people who can work from Santorini or Mykonos, and they can live in Greece, proving that they have sufficient income. So just to sum it up, Greece is the correct place. It's cost effective. It has the lowest threshold in Europe in order to get your residency permit. It gives you the right to live in Greece, have a company in Greece, and you can go around in Europe as a European citizen. Eventually, you can become Greek at the end after 7 years of presence. If you know Greek, if you speak Greek at the time and you have some certain knowledge of Greek culture and Greek history, you are eligible to apply for Greek citizenship. And in order to make you the pass for Dominica, I'm also the consul for Dominica. So Inga is going to talk about Dominica, but we are service providers for Dominica. We do the service for many agents around the world. And Dominica is also a resilient nation. It has 0 COVID deaths, and it has a program that it's valid since 1993, and you can file remotely and in a very swift manner.
Right. So let me come to Inga on what the Dominica and St. Kitts offer for Indian citizens. Inga, this is a long-standing program. It's been going on for a really long time. For a high net worth Indian investor, why should he head for Dominica? Is it the beaches? Is it the ease of doing business? Is it tax efficiency? What works in their favor?
Well, there are many aspects of these programs that are working in the favor of our clients. And of course, it is absolutely correct that you have said it is offering you an amazing beaches and amazing weather and with amazing landscapes and diverse culture. It is extremely attractive locations for owning a home in Caribbean or to retire to and do what you like to do most, enjoying the good links to Europe and North America. And of course, Caribbean citizenship programs are offering you a citizenship rather than a residence, and citizenship does have its own advantages. For example, a residence not in every country can possess the property, not working for every country, whereas citizens have more rights than can possess the property. They can access social services such as medical care and education, and citizens of the country can apply for the passport and travel visa-free or visa on arrival. And CBI programs generally do not need our clients or future citizens to either travel to or reside at any time before or after the process. It is all done remotely, very much like Mr. Th.Vardikos has pointed. It is all done remotely. Citizens or future citizens of Caribbean countries do not need to sit any kind of exam to show their previous business experience. They do not need a language knowledge or cultural tests or anything like that. It is very, very simple. To apply for St. Kitts and Nevis, there are very few prerequisites that our applicants should be. They have to be above 18. They have to be of a good character, possess a clean criminal record, and they should be financially stable. It cannot be any simpler than that. And basically, one more thing about Caribbean, and we will talk about it in detail a little further, but benefits of particularly Dominica and St. Kitts and Nevis's programs are longevity, of course, that it was mentioned. St. Kitts and Nevis is one of the first programs. It has been established in 1984, and Dominica followed shortly in 1993, and both therefore stood test of time. And our potential applicants know that they are acquiring quality product that's been recognized internationally for many, many years. That's basically it. We can continue later.
Before I go to the next speaker, Inga, could you just tell us what is the minimum threshold investment required for applying for citizenship in Dominica?
Absolutely. Future citizens of Caribbean country have two options. Either invest into government fund, which is a contribution of starting with $100,000 US, or St. Kitts and Nevis, it is $150,000, or there is an option of investing into real estate. Dominica, it started with $200,000, and purchase of government approved real estate in St. Kitts will start with $200,000, which is resellable after 7 years, or $400,000 resellable after 5 years. And of course, fund contributions have their advantages. It is safer, it is faster, and it is basically more straightforward, as you are not going to need to purchase sales agreement or hire attorney, and so on and so on.
All right. David is representing Portugal, and Portugal's golden visa is very popular amongst global investors looking for a dual citizenship or a second passport. David, I know of a friend who has applied for the golden visa. Now, for Indians, what is the main draw of the golden visa that Portugal offers? Is it that you stand to get citizenship of a European country and then travel and work freely in Europe? What is the biggest draw of the golden visa that Portugal offers?
Hi. So the biggest thing of the Portuguese golden visa is that it fulfills all the boxes. I mean, basically, it's a program that allows someone to have the residence permit without relocation needed. So basically, we have a 14-day stay required every 2 years. And at the same time, enables someone to relocate to Europe immediately and benefit from everything. So opens the doors like a local for all the healthcare, student facilities, everything. Once you have the residence permit from Portugal, you're being treated like a local. So that's one of the big advantages. And the second thing is after 5 years, you are not only eligible to get a permanent residence, as you're also eligible to get citizenship. So citizenship is not a must, but it's a full open door for it. So after 5 years, everyone qualifies. And basically by having this program, you are putting one step in Europe as an investment in a country which is highly touristic, very, very good facilities, very nice people, but I think I'm not the right person to talk about it as a Portuguese person, right? So at Portugal Golden Visa, basically, we run the program from A to Z. We have this program since the end of 2012. And by completing one of the investments, you enjoy all these benefits. So we have several different options to be able to qualify. One of them is to invest in real estate. In real estate, 500,000 euros minimum, you can qualify with any type of assets. If you choose to invest in properties more than 30 years old, the minimum drops to 350,000 euros. And if you choose to go to remote areas, the minimum drops for 280,000 euros for people that invest in properties more than 30 years old, located in remote areas. In alternative to real estate, we have a very good option, which is also very famous within the Indian community, which is a mutual fund with a minimum investment of 350,000 euros that you qualify straight to the program. The best thing I would say, that's why Portugal has been so strong over all this time, is that not only the country is very, very nice, very peaceful, very solid, as has it been very rewarding in terms of investment in all directions. It's because it's so simple, so straightforward, and keeps all the doors open. You don't have to relocate. You don't have to choose to go for the citizenship, but you have the ability to do that anytime you want.
Yes, but David, you do have to pass a Portuguese language test to qualify for the citizenship, right?
For the citizenship, it started the program with the need of having to have the test for the Portuguese language. These days, you can either choose between doing the test. This is the most basic level of language that is required. You can choose to either do the test or enroll a Portuguese language course online, which fully qualifies. So the idea is that you have basic knowledge of Portuguese words. It's not that you are able to speak, but it's a matter of respect for the passport you carry.
All right. We'll discuss the options in further details and at great length. Let me come to you, Kenneth. And you're talking about the program offered by Malta. Now, for most Indians, we've heard of Cyprus because a number of Indian IT companies have bases in Cyprus, but Malta, it's a small little country. For a country as large as India, what's their offer that makes it absolutely irresistible for HNIs in India?
Yeah, you are very right, Anisha. So Malta is a very, very small island in the Mediterranean. In fact, sometimes I have the challenge to explain where Malta is. And as a first step, I say that Malta is very close to Italy. It's our closest neighbor because we are just 30 minutes by flight from Sicily or to the south. But yes, it is very small in size, but I would say very huge in terms of opportunities that the country can offer. Just to start with, it's good to note that Malta is a full member of the European Union since 2004. It is also part of the Schengen community, and like India, it is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations. Besides that, I would say some important demographics for people to know what Malta is all about. Very rich in history, 5,000 years of history. In fact, even if you look at our language, we have two official language, actually. So the very first, our native language is Maltese, which is, its base comes from Semitic, but if you get to study the language, it is a mix of many other languages. And this comes from the fact that throughout 5,000 years of history, Malta was colonized by many colonizers. But one, no need to worry about the Maltese language because everyone speaks English here in Malta, and English is also considered as an official language. So whether it's the signage on the roads, it's the education at each level, primary, secondary, tertiary, everyone speaks the English language. It's a country where we cannot complain about whether the beaches were mentioned, the sun and the sea. We do have that. We have the 4 seasons in Malta. However, we claim that we have more than 3/4 of the year with sunshine. That's more on the demographics, looking at the economy of the country. Also, it is a very stable and good economy, very stable also in terms of the political environment. It's a democratic election with 2 main parties contesting the government. It happens every 5 years. Good banking system, and if we had to look at the pillars of what makes our economy in Malta, one will be looking at the property sector, also the tourism sector, and the financial service sector.
Kenneth, could you tell us what is the minimum investment threshold? What is, do you have a requirement of residency or minimum stay to get the residency permit? And what about citizenship?
Very good. Actually, this seminar comes at a very good time for Malta because we are presenting 2 programs or policies which relate to citizenship and PR. And in brief, I will explain the 2. So if we look at the citizenship opportunity, it's called, to be precise, the granting of citizenship for exceptional services by direct investment. That's the name of the policy. In short, I will refer to it as a CDI. So who is eligible to apply under CDI? Practically any applicant from wherever in the world, together with the main applicant, but you can include your spouse or your life partner, your children, parents of both applicant and spouse, and also the grandparents. So it goes to 4 generations with one important principle that all the members in the applications must prove that they are dependent on the main applicant. Now, the requirements, I will categorize them into 3 steps. One is the fit and proper test. Fit and proper both in terms of the persons applying, but also on the source of wealth. There is also the requirement, and it's a very important requirement under citizenship, is the essential commitments. So the way it goes is that together with the family applying, we see what are going to be the essential commitments in Malta, because only at that stage then you can apply for citizenship. And also it's important to be in good health. If I had to look also briefly at the timeline of the citizenship by direct investment, it is, we have the route, which is 36 months, 3 years. However, by exception, you can do that in 12 months. So the process starts by applying for a residency status. Following that, we'll see what are going to be the essential commitments of the family in Malta. We will present all that to the government. Once the government carries out the due diligence and these essential requirements, there is an in principle approval issued for the family to be able to apply for citizenship. Then, following the 1 year, the family can apply in a formal manner for citizenship, and that is where the investment requirement kicks in. Now, the investment requirements include a contribution to the government of Malta. It's a transfer of capital of 750,000 euros. There is another requirement to purchase or rather rent your residential property in Malta, and the values here you're looking for 700,000 euros if you're going to acquire property, or 16,000 euros is the minimum if you're going to rent the property in Malta. And following that, you are also required to do a donation for voluntary organizations in Malta. Once you do the investment, so very important to note that the investment only happens after an in-principle approval issued from the government. Following that, you will be asked to come to Malta for the oath of allegiance, and eventually you can apply for a passport as a citizen of Malta. The good thing about our passport is that it ranks with the top 10 countries in the world, because it gives you access to more than 180 countries which are visa-free. So in a nutshell, that is the Citizenship by Investment program, but we have also a permanent residency program. So who is eligible under this program? It's a program which is for third country nationals only. India is a case in point. It also follows the 4 tiers of family that they can apply for generations. The requirements, again, it's a fit and proper test on the source of wealth and the persons applying. And also you have to prove your financial resources, that they will make up around 500,000 euros in terms of capital, of which part of that has to be in liquid funds.
Right.
Okay.
So a lot of options for investments for residency as well as citizenship in Malta. I want to come to Ignacio, who's going to talk to us about the CBI by Canada. Now, Ignacio, I have many friends who have moved to Canada on the PR, the express visa. But Canada also has a lot to offer for entrepreneurs, for startups. So could you take us through, the investment options in Canada?
Thank you, and thank you all of the participants and attendees today. So the Canadian permanent residency landscape is dominated by the very famous express entry point system that was implemented in 2015. And I agree that it is an extraordinary program where I have seen people apply and get selected and given an invitation to apply to Canada as a permanent residency within a matter of weeks. And that is absolutely impressive. And that continues, except that that's not the only program to Canada. And I think the real feature of the Canadian immigration landscape for permanent residency, it's the vast variety of programs that are available in Canada. So let's start with the well-known express entry points program. Well, there are also subcategories of that program that are tremendously useful, some of which are not sufficiently well known. One that is well known is a Canadian experience class. That's for persons that have 12 years of full-time experience in Canada, working in the country. And Canada recently issued an invitation to apply to all 20,000 plus applicants in that particular program. And by the stroke of a pen, literally cleared out the entire category and made it available to everybody who had applied. In addition to that, and this is the critical feature, every Canadian province, except for Quebec, that would be 9 provinces, has additional programs for permanent residency based on investment, which are the entrepreneur programs you mentioned, based on education, if you study in the province, for example, or based on what they call human capital meaning skills, professional experience. The entrepreneur programs are fascinating because they really offer tremendous flexibility by creating the possibility for starting your own business in Canada and using that as a springboard for permanent residency, not only for yourself, for your family, but also if you have business associates, you can use that as well. It is a tailor-made suit, so every case of that nature has to be analyzed very carefully and prepared carefully, but it is incredibly successful. These are our programs that have enabled hundreds of families, thousands of families to immigrate every year. And they do so basically investing in themselves, investing in their own business. It is a great platform for permanent residency. The life cycle of permanent residency in Canada, depending on the program, is typically less than a year. For example, the Express Entry program, Canada is holding drawings every month or every 2 weeks, frankly. And that means that every 2 weeks, the person can have a chance to be offered an invitation to apply and then seek permanent residency. They could be landing in Canada with permanent residency in a matter of 6 months or less, which is very impressive given how difficult the COVID-19 crisis has been. Entrepreneur programs, they all have features that are intended to make it easier. So for example, the entrepreneur program kicks off with an expression of interest where the applicant presents a rudimentary business plan, a concept, background information, and then the province looks at that, gives an invitation to apply in approximately 3 months, give or take. And then once the invitation is accepted, the individual applicant will sign a performance agreement, land in Canada in approximately 6 months in total, and then pursue their investment over the next 18 months. The government will then verify the situation 18 months later, and then full permanent residency will be obtained. So it is a stepped process. It's not as clean as the Express Entry program, but it is also an investment that doesn't require disbursement of money right away. There is, as I said at the very beginning, an expression of interest which doesn't require the person to have already spent all the money for their investment. The programs have many variations, and that's really the biggest challenge for Canada. The number of variations that are available, because it's 9 provinces, at least 9 programs. And on top of that, you have the startup visa programs, which are fascinating. So this is a great time in terms of looking at Canada and taking advantage of its worldwide efforts to attract immigrants, particularly entrepreneurs, skilled immigrants, and students at the university level to Canada.
Right, and Canada is known to be a large and big-hearted country, having also taken in many refugees as well. And I think for a lot of my friends, they already had families. So there's a large Indian community in Canada that also, helps you feel more welcome. But just one question from my side, Ignacio. You do have to stay in Canada. So what is the minimum amount of time that you have to spend in either of these programs if you do apply for the residency plan?
Hi, you broke up just when you were saying just one question. So I didn't hear the question.
My question to you is, Ignacio, how much time do you have to spend in Canada before you apply for the residence permit, or even the citizenship?
Well, for the residence permit, you don't have to be physically present in the country.
All right. I think Ignacio is...
18.
Sorry, Ignacio, we lost you there. Could you repeat it, please?
For permanent residency in the Express Entry program, Federal Skilled Worker program, Canadian Experience Class program, and many others, you don't have to be physically present in the country to pursue permanent residency.
Okay. We are getting a lot of questions, and I'm going to come to them. But just a few questions from my side. David, for Indians looking to, apply for the golden visa in Portugal, could you tell us for how long do they have to keep the investments? And what are the options now? Because I think there are some new restrictions. There have been a few changes that have come about. You cannot invest in Porto and in Lisbon. So, while the property market has been quite resilient in Portugal, what are the opportunities in other areas that will now allow for investments?
Okay, so basically, once you apply for the golden visa in Portugal, you have to keep an investment for 5 years. It does not mean that you have to keep stuck with one specific property. Basically, you are able to buy this property, resell, and buy another one. There's a lot of discussions about the new rules about Portugal. There was a lot of controversy because the information was not very well managed. I guess there's a lot of misunderstanding about it also. The important thing to retain is that till the end of 2021, the rules keep exactly the same. There's no change. So there is a massive opportunity now to be able to complete the applications without the new rules, which don't bring any new benefits for the investors. Against what investors would like, the minimum threshold will be raised and not diminished. And also, we will have to reinvest on residential properties in more remote locations than what we can do today, because today we can invest in the main capital, in Lisbon city center. We don't have to go to remote locations to qualify. So the new rules, it will only be applicable for applications launched in 2022. I guess it raises a lot of confusion to be discussing them now. The important thing is that if we don't do the investment in 2021, we have to go to do the investment in remote locations. And this will be obviously harder to explain as an investment. So there's a good chance now to complete the applications we're doing this year. We can do the whole process remotely. So you can qualify by investing in the main capitals, and that's the opportunity now.
All right, we've got a host of questions. So I'm going to start taking some of those up. Ignacio, let me start with you. We have a question which is coming from Mr. Vinay for you. His question is, my son has a startup under an incubator program in India already dealing in Bitcoin technology. I think he means blockchain. Will it give him an added advantage while applying for the Canadian startup program?
Hi, is that a question for me?
Yes, Ignacio, that question is for you. Okay.
So what was the question again?
Okay, this is a question that is coming from Mr. Vinay. He's saying that his son has a startup under the incubator program in India already dealing in Bitcoin technology, which I'm guessing is blockchain. Will it give him an added advantage while applying for the Canadian startup program?
Yes, because the business model has been proven and is, let's say, already operating in one part of the world. But the Canadian Startup Visa Program has many other features that you would also need to qualify for. So it's very helpful, but it's not determinative.
All right. Ignacio, one more question. Is there an age barrier or an age restriction when applying for either the PR or for the business incubation program that Canada has?
Canadian permanent residency programs skew in favor of young professionals who know English. Okay, that is the express entry program. The express entry program and the point system that it creates gives fewer points for older applicants. And they also give fewer points for people who don't have advanced education. And they also give fewer points for people that do not have let's say at least working knowledge of the English language. So that's one program. It is one of the main programs in Canada, but let's go back to what I said. Express Entry also has variations known as the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Canadian Experience Class Program, and you have provincial programs called provincial nominee programs that offer, frankly, dozens of opportunities to arrive in Canada with permanent residency. This is the key. Most of my clients that are entrepreneurs in their 40s that want to reestablish themselves in Canada are able to do so successfully because of the variety of programs to arrive in Canada. And again, Canada in this moment in time is very publicly seeking immigrants. So it is definitely a time where if you are considering immigration to Canada, don't wait, because next year will be, frankly, back to normal, God willing, right? We'll be back to normal, and there will be more travel. There will be more, more applicants. So more applicants means more people trying to do the same thing that you are. And in the Canadian system, because it's built on points and that depends on the number of applicants in the pool, that will disfavor you. But frankly, most of my clients that start businesses in Canada find it a very, very accessible path toward permanent residency, and they're not held back by the fact of their age or they're not, as long as they have working knowledge of the English language, they're fine.
Okay. We have a question that is coming from Pranali Singh from Th.Vardikos. So Pranali Singh is asking, since Greece is dependent on tourism primarily, how has COVID affected the rental returns for investors? Have property prices decreased? And is this a good time to invest in Greece?
Thank you. So I will start from another pivot for the moment. The golden visa of Greece, as I said, has the minimum threshold, 250,000. You can buy a plot of land, an apartment, wherever in Greece. There is no restriction. That is to say, you can, if your target is location, you can have a small office in the center, in the heart of Athens, or you can have a villa in Mykonos, or you can have a small house in a village and an apartment in Athens. It can combine everything. So the Greek program is very flexible. It is very flexible in the sense that if you don't have the 250,000 today, you can start buying with 100 and then next year get another 100. And when you have the 250 total value in property, then you can apply for your golden visa. You don't have to come and spend all the money immediately in one
go.
So this is one thing. The market is currently at a good, at an entry level. You can find good opportunities to buy correct properties. What I want to stress out, and this is not a rule for Greece, this is a rule for and for Greece and for Malta and for Portugal. It is that all the applicants who come to this kind of venues, they have the tendency to go to a promoter and deal with a promoter directly who does everything. What I want to stress out is that when you invest your money in a foreign country that you do not know, do your due diligence, employ a lawyer, employ someone who is paid from you and not someone who is paid by the person who is selling you. So the Latin said caveat emptor, so the purchaser should be aware. So this is the first advice that I give. The second advice that I give is, yes, invest in Greece now, it is a good time. Tourism was good last year, even with COVID. We didn't have a lot of Americans that are primarily the basis of let's say the majority of high-end tourists that are coming to Greece, but the income was good for considering the time. Now I have seen a question on the FIP. FIP is just something for the golden visa again. You can, golden visa, you buy the property, as long as you keep it, you have a visa in Greece. It covers the 3 generations, your grandparents, yourself, your spouse, and your kids up to 21 years of age. If you do the option of the deposit, you have your capital guarantee, you have interest, and you can walk away immediately. There is nothing that can stop you. You just take your money and walk out. So there is no risk. We do have the option in Greece for mutual funds. We do have the option for stocks. It is more expensive and it's more risky. For someone who wants to have a capital guarantee, this is the best solution. For the FIP that I see a question, FIP we can do with 50,000 euros. You can open a bank account in Greece. You can lodge the money in your bank account. You can apply for a residence permit that it's for 2 years. After the 2 years, you have to renew it for 3 years, and you need to have the amount for the 3 years shown in your bank account, and you can have a residency in Greece. What is the issue with the FIP? FIP, you need to have a presence in Greece for 6 months every calendar year. So for the golden visa, you have no restriction. You can never come to Greece. You can rent your property and never step your foot in Greece. But for the FIP, you need to spend 6 months. There's another question on shipping. Greece has a special legislation, which is a tax-free status for shipping companies. Immigration-wise, the shipping companies can bring their personnel in Greece without any issue. You have a tax-free status for the income of the companies, and you have a facility to bring in the personnel. Our law firm is primarily a maritime law firm, and apart from that, we are the ship registrars for the Dominica registry. We can register here all the vessels. So I will give you the pass again for Inga to go to Dominica again.
Because we've got a question that has come in from Mr. Sudhir. So his question is, once we receive the Dominican passport, can we continue running an organization in India and route money from Dominica whenever needed for business transactions only?
Well, sorry, it's a sound, it's a microphone. It is a great place to be here with all these panelists offering all of these amazing options to wealthy individuals who have a chance to choose the place where they want to be, where they want to do business, how they want to travel, where they want to invest their money. It is an amazing opportunity, and more wealthy individuals are looking into diversifying their residence and citizenship portfolio. And Caribbean country is one of those stepping stones for anybody who would just wish to travel and find an amazing place for their families to stay. I am here in MENA region, where most of our clients found themselves disturbed and found themselves vulnerable for various reasons. And for some of them, the ability to obtain citizenship of another country sometimes is a matter of life. And St. Kitts and Nevis offers an amazing opportunity of fast track where you can receive your citizenship for additional cost of $25,000 as quickly as 45 to 60 days. This is basically one of the most amazing points of this particular country. Any Indian national who is wishing to obtain second citizenship of any country will have to relinquish their own Indian national, Indian citizenship, and obtain OCI card, which does give them a chance to work and travel indefinitely, visa-free into India and live there indefinitely for themselves and their descendants, which is not a bad arrangement in my mind. And basically, that's all I have to say in this time. CS Global Partners, as a family advisor, is always happy to help extended families choosing and finding the place for them to stay and travel, and for the better future in immigration.
All right. We have a question for Kenneth as well. Kenneth, the question has come from Mr. Reddy. The question is, does Malta Citizenship by Investment Program cover immediate family and retired parents too? How are the education standards in Malta compared to the rest of Europe?
Okay, so in terms of who to cover under the Citizenship by Investment, there is the main applicant who will apply. Together with him, he can include the spouse, the children, also parents of both the main applicant and the spouse, and also the grandparents. That is what we mean by the 4 generations. However, I repeat on one very important condition, that all the other applicants together with the main applicant have to be dependent, and we have to prove dependency on the main applicant. When it comes to education, statistics shows that education is considered at a very high level when you compare it to Europe. Even just to say that Malta has the oldest university in Europe, which is more than 400 years old. Our educational system is based, its foundations are on the British education system, because the Brits ruled our country for almost 200 years, so they did a lot of influence on that. We have both private schools and also state schools at each level, so primary, secondary, and tertiary, up to university level. So both would be an option for a citizen of Malta to choose.
All right. One question for you, David, and this is coming from Mr. Girish. The question is, can one instantly mortgage the property bought in Portugal to invest in a local business?
Yeah, basically you are able to mortgage properties in Portugal in order to do your investment. Normally the banks like to go on a 50-50 basis with foreign investors. The thing is, to apply for the Golden Visa, you need to complete the minimum investment with your own capital. Obviously, if you're investing in multiple products, some of them can be mortgaged or a majority of them can be mortgaged. As long as the part that is not mortgaged complies with the minimum amount, you are able to join the benefits of the program.
All right. Kenneth, there's another question for you from Mr. Shetty. He's asking, what are the advantages of the Maltese citizenship over Portugal and Greece? We are looking at migration to Europe for the future of our kids, and we are exploring viable options. So could you tell us how Malta scores over Greece and Portugal?
To be quite honest, during my experience, I have been asked this question many times. And personally, I feel that it's not a matter of comparing why Malta is better than Portugal and Greece. For the simple fact that we strongly believe that there are many immigration programs out there, as my colleagues has just explained, and I think it is that country, or rather the program, which ticks mostly the boxes for the individual applying, which will suit him best. But why I consider Malta to be beneficial in this case? First of all, what I like most about our programs and policies is the fact that it is very clear in terms of timeline what you need to do and what makes you qualify for that. So our program is not kind of a matter of start with one thing, and then if you want to proceed to another, then you have to study, to live in the country, so on and so forth. Here, of course, I am referring to the Citizenship by Investment program. So it is very clear, once you are of a good conduct and you have a good criminal record and clean source of wealth, and you are able to do the investment which is required, then, strictly speaking, it is a process which you have to follow. Now, other benefits which comes in the program, one of them, I see it, is the option and the possibility to invest in real estate. It is not straightforward that in each and every country you can go if you have the money to invest in real estate. Malta is not an exception in that. To the contrary, it is not easy at all. Malta is a very small country. However, the fact that you are applying under the Citizenship by Investment program, the law in itself gives you the opportunity to buy property anywhere you like in the country, which you have to retain for 5 years. I have also hinted the mobility. Okay, so the mobility to travel through our
all over Europe.
Sorry.
The mobility, the freedom to travel all over Europe, that exists, right?
Correct. The mobility to travel and also to live and work abroad as a citizen.
Right. Inga, there's another question that has come in from Mr. Vinod in New Delhi. He's asking, what is the tax charged on rental returns from investment in hotel properties for the CBI program? Can one instantly mortgage a property bought in Dominica to invest in a local business? Again, similar question. Could you answer this question?
Can you please repeat that? I'm trying to.
Yeah. The question is, what is the tax charge on rental returns, which is the rental income from investment in hotel properties for the CBI program? Can one instantly mortgage a property bought in Dominica to invest in a local business?
Well, it is one of the requirements if you are to apply for the citizenship. You will need to be a wealthy person. You will need to have enough money in your bank account to make sure that you pay for the property for yourself and your family, plus government and other fees. You cannot mortgage the property that you purchased in relation with citizenship by investment, but you can rent it out straight away. No mortgage is allowed, and we cannot consult about taxes. We are purely citizenship by investment advisory.
Inga, can I interrupt you a moment?
Yes, please.
Can I interrupt you a moment? Because you didn't understand what he asked exactly.
Yeah, well.
The gentleman is asking if he can mortgage. He can, in Dominica, he cannot mortgage for the simplest reason that the government has government-approved projects where the applicant becomes an equity shareholder. That is to say, you do not own this piece of land. You do not own an apartment. You are a shareholder. Your share cannot be pledged, cannot be put as a guarantee, because you need to have the financial capability to have it, first of all. And secondly, the share, you can keep it for 3 years and you can sell it. You can sell it after the 3 years, but the person who acquires it, he has to wait for 5 years. Now, the question was, in general, the answer to the question of the gentleman is that when you apply for a Dominica citizenship, you cannot go to the open market and purchase a property. You can do it if you want, but this does not fall into the CBI program. Into the CBI program, you have to choose one of the 6 government-approved projects. So right. I think the answer is answered to the gentleman.
All right. Very briefly, one last question for David, and I'd request you to be brief. We're completely out of time, David. Mr. Iqbal is asking, he wants to know how COVID has affected the approval time for applicants in the Portugal Golden Visa program. Since travel to Portugal is not possible from India now, how is the process for filing being carried out?
Okay, so these days we can do the whole application initially remotely, so we can open tax IDs, bank accounts, power of attorneys, we can do all this process remotely. So once we complete the transfer of the investment to the name of the client, then he's eligible to start the immigration process. The immigration process, we can still open online, file all the documentation. After 3 to 4 weeks, they pre-approve the application, basically. Then it's up to the investor to find time to be able to fly to Portugal. In these days, has been pretty difficult to get an appointment at the immigration office, but still possible. So once we find that opportunity to book the immigration office visit, the investor just has to collect a national visa to be able to fly in. There are a lot of restrictions for flying these days, but it's still possible to fly under these terms. Basically, to fly for an appointment of the immigration office, we still have a route. So none of the process gets stuck because of the current conditions. These days, we're doing most of the applications remotely. So basically, they're even going faster because there's not that many people applying, not that many people visiting the immigration office. So it's faster than ever.
All right. We're completely out of time. A big thank you to all of you for coming in and talking about the country programs that you're representing. Thank you, David, Kenneth, Ignacio, Th.Vardikos, Inga. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank all the participants. And if you still have questions that you would like to ask the country representatives, please visit their booth. Please get in touch directly and they will be happy to answer all your questions. Thank you from my side to all of you for taking the time out. I'll hand it back to you, Rohan.
Thank you. Thank you, Anisha, for moderating this panel. I think it was a great interactive session. Thank you to all the panelists for such an insightful discussion. Like Anisha said, in case you didn't get a chance to ask your question or your query remains unanswered, the panelists will be available to speak to you in their virtual booths at the IREX Residency and Citizenship Virtual Exhibition. We'll post the link on the chat for your reference. Please join the virtual expo via the link mentioned in the chat.